Hello and welcome to Newsnight. I'm Lanre Lasese. Tonight, we focus on Nigeria's bold economic reform agenda and the ambitious plan to transform the nation from a $400 billion economy into a $1 trillion powerhouse by 2030. At the heart of this vision is job creation, millions of opportunities for Nigeria's young population. Now, one of the most powerful levers to achieve this is through micro, small, and medium enterprises, MSMEs, often described as the engine room of any economy. MSMEs have a unique ability to drive inclusive growth, innovation, and stability in ways that large corporations cannot. Now, to explore how government initiatives are set to stimulate this vital sector, we're joined tonight by Temitola Adekunle Johnson, the Special Advisor to President Bola Tinubu, Job Creation and MSMEs. I say, we'd like to thank you very much for accepting our invitation to be in your office.
You're welcome. It's always a pleasure.
Okay. Now, I would like to start from this. You are the Special Advisor to the President on Job Creation and MSMEs, micro, small, and medium enterprises.
Fantastic.
Can you help us understand what your job and your role entails?
Okay. So, thank you once again. So, as the Special Advisor to the President in the Office of the Vice President on Job Creation and MSMEs, I think the expectation on me is that I'm able to come up or advise with policies that can be well implemented, or, for instance, I'm able to generate policies and ideas, with the intention for smooth execution that can lead to the promotion of small business, that can lead to the promotion of MSMEs across the country. So, also doing that, liaising with different agencies, ministries that coordinate the affairs of MSM. So I'm not working in isolation. We're working with, for instance, trade and investment, SMEDAN, and other facets in the MSME space. So even the industries is a major component as well. As a matter of fact, we work with virtually everyone, because when you talk of job creation, you've got job creation with digital economy. Yeah. You've got with creative economy. You've got with education. You've got with youths. So we are a plethora of partners.
Okay. How long have you been on this job creation MSMEs?
So the job creation bit came in 2023 when I was appointed as a senior special assistant. And you recall that President Bola was just a special assistant on MSMEs. But the job creation bit came in. It was added to the portfolio because there is a thin line between MSMEs, job creation, virtually everything in that facet. It's the purpose or the essence is to lead to job creation. So I would say about 3 years now for the job creation bit.
And when you came in, when this administration came in, you were SSA.
Yes.
Also,
yes,
but you've now been elevated to a special advisor.
Yes, I think as a matter of fact, we officially got our SSA letters, I think sometime in September 2023, and the president graciously elevated me in 2025, sometime in February or March or thereabouts. So, yeah.
What change does that bring to the table?
In terms of work, for me, it is just nothing has changed. Okay. It has not reduced the momentum, whether as an SSA or as a special advisor. It's still work. It's still trying to figure out how we can help the MSMEs. And maybe the nomenclature changed, now a special advisor and cabinet member for NEC and other things. So, but when it comes to...
And maybe the salary changed. A few things.
Yeah, and there, but some.
Now you've spent, I think, longer than most political appointees. You spent this, unlike other appointees that may be moved from one sector to the other sector. You've been in the sector on this particular bit from the last administration into this administration. So I think you're in a good place to talk to us from where you sit now, where you've sat for some time. If you were to tell us the state of MSMEs in Nigeria, what will you be telling us?
Okay, so if you permit me to talk about the states before coming into government,
okay.
Because prior to coming into government in 2015, I was an SME myself.
Okay.
I was a very passionate one. Did several things within the SME. So that was what I was known for, basically. So hence the reason why it's just that line that I've told in government.
You were setting up businesses?
Oh, yeah. I had my own businesses.
Okay.
I had a manufacturing business, water company. I had a business that I had a food business. I had a fast food business, or the finger foods, shawarma and the rest of them. I had such business.
So you knew the challenges from a first hand.
Yeah. I knew the challenges I faced. I knew some of the issues I faced with certain agencies then. Hence the reason why I'm now a partner to those agencies to see how we can fix it together. So what has changed now, or the state of MSME space now? The state is where it is right now is we're at a state of where we believe that things can be better. Because when the president says he's going to do this for SMEs, it follows through.
Okay.
So, and that is very important, that the leader follows through. So the ties on people like us and other agency heads and those that regulate the affairs to ensure that whatever it is that was promised to SMEs, we follow through. But one of the important issues that they have for me is the issue of access to funding. There's access to funding, but it is at what sort of rate, what sort of structure, what sort of tenure. Now, when you expect people to go and access loan facility at 20-something%, that is, it's not too many businesses can sustain and can survive on that for a very long time. So it's not sustainable. But we've dug deep from government to try and see what can be done. We've reached out to our private sector and commercial bank partners as well. So, and also, there's also the states where SMEs need help with accessing the market. So we're helping them with that as a government, and this is being pioneered by the NEPC, that's Nigerian Export Promotion Council, and then the NIPC, Nigerian Investment Promotion Council as well. So we are using those two agencies to more or less see how SMEs can seamlessly have access to the market. We want a situation where the Nigerian business does its business here, but they are feeling your impact in Hackney, London. The Nigerian business does business here, and they are feeling your impact on the streets of Accra, Ghana. They are feeling your impact in Kigali, Rwanda. They are feeling your impact in Buenos Aires, in Argentina. So those are the kind of impact we want, and want it to be seamless. So that's so when SMEs get to that point, in their numbers, the country will feel the direct impact. Don't forget that they are responsible for close to 50% of the GDP, and the workforce is about between 84 to 88% according to MSMEs Africa and the World Bank.
So one would say it's actually the engine room of employment in Nigeria. Because if you look at the numbers, and I think a lot of countries depend on them, not the big companies, to get employment.
So there are two brackets and two buckets. Now it's called MSMEs.
Yes.
But over 90% or 93% are the micro. The SMEs themselves are not much.
Oh, okay.
So
what's the difference, please?
Now the SME, so there's micro, small, and medium enterprise. So now the MSMEs are the ones that you see that have employed 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 50 people. Now for the SMEs, those are slightly larger.
Okay.
Those are businesses that you might see here and there that have maybe like 250 people. Okay. They do higher turnovers. Then you have the enterprises. The enterprises are very massive.
Okay.
You do not have a lot of them, but those are the ones that can communally employ, say, about 1,000 people. Okay. And they are about. But those micro are the ones that you see all over the place. They are the real engine room of any economy in the world.
I know, because I know that there are some countries who sponsor entrepreneurship visas, and they get people to come in, start a business, and make sure you employ the small number. Yeah. Because basically what they want to do is make sure they spur growth and employment.
I like for them, very close to Nigeria. Well, not very close. England. They do that. There are Nigerians that go to England on sponsorship of innovation visa, entrepreneurship visa. So they go there, set up businesses, employ 1 or 2 people, basically, and ensure that business is sustainable. So any serious-minded leader or any serious-minded country understands and realizes the importance of this sector, of this space. So they don't joke with it.
Now, the point for us now is a lot of people will be asking, what are we doing? And you sit in a very privileged position. You're advising the president. So if we're now looking at it, what are we doing to help ensure that this very critical mass gets the right encouragement, right empowerment they need to make sure they keep giving? What policies are being done specifically now to help grow and strengthen that band, as you call it, the micro?
Okay. If you notice, the Minister for State for Industry has been going around trying to show he has an approval, for Nigeria First. That's everything should, we're pushing this Made in Nigeria policy. And, a few months ago, he came up with this industrial policy. So it is harmonized. Now, this is where the nation, when you talk about Nigeria, what's the industrial policy? Now we have a policy document, which the Minister of Industry has been able to come. And don't forget that the current Minister for Trade and Investment, Dr. Job Creation was the director. She was even the special advisor on presidential enabling business environment. So that's PEBEC.
Yes.
So what's the drive? The drive was to ensure that when it comes to policy crafting, businesses policy crafting and ensuring that small businesses operate seamlessly without hassles. That was our responsibility then, to ensure that you could register a business name very quickly. That public liability, whatever it is, very quickly. We must also applaud CAC. Now it's very easy to register a business name, because then we also ensure that you can go into a market. We spoke about that earlier on. You can go operate here, have your markets abroad.
Yes.
There are also ITF is there. ITF is supposed to be, what they are supposed to be doing is to train and ensure that we have abundance of skills, that Nigerians who are ready.
And these businesses too.
Nigerians who are ready and the businesses can have skills that will help the nation. For instance, if you want to be a plumber, you don't need to go to university to be a plumber. If you want to be a carpenter, I don't think you necessarily need to go to the university for that. But so there should be what we are trying to do as a government is ensuring that there's room for everybody.
Earlier you spoke about the issue of the MSMEs accounting for almost 50%
GDP
of our GDP. Now, from what we understand, a lot of them still find it difficult to get loans. In terms of doing business, if you look at the factors of a business, the issue of funding, the issue of finance, the issue of loans usually is problematic. And a lot of people who want to start this small and micro or small enterprises have to depend on friends and family, do fundraising or borrow from friends. Now, what are you or the government, let me not say you advise, what is the government doing? What policies is being put out there to help encourage people who want to set up these small businesses, that they can find loan to help them set up?
Okay, now you're right, 100%, because even when I started my business, I had to depend on family and friends. You know, it was after running for a few years that the bank started giving me facility. Which is
another very painful thing. So people will be like, oh, is when I've finished going through the hard grind, you now come in.
No.
But leave that, continue.
I'll answer that in two buckets, because number one, most of these banks, you must understand that they are here to run a business.
True.
No, and most likely they will go for those that they think are established or have some history to their business.
Or security.
They tend not to want to gravitate towards new businesses. But that is changing now, because this government has and will continue to tell all and sundry that you cannot remove anybody from the table. So an idea, somebody only becomes a successful businessman because he started an idea. Nobody knows the end of what anything that is going to. When we begin anything, nobody knows how it's going to turn out.
True.
We all just hope that it turns out well. Basically, so most banks, and especially the likes of Bank of Industry, they are beginning to support a lot of new ideas. You know, so they've crafted. What they've done is that they've crafted ways of going around the risk. For instance, you have a great idea and you've been able to show them document that you mean well. What they will do is they just get you maybe the equipment in their own name. Once you have shown that you know exactly what you're doing, you pay off your debts, they transfer ownership to you. That's what a lot of other banks too are now doing, because they've now realized that nobody can deliver these SMEs, whether it's established or brand new ideas. So they begin to figure out how to support them. But what we are working on is the interest rates. The rates are astronomical. Not too many businesses can survive on it. We are working on it, and that's why the federal government came up in partnership with all the banks on something called the de-risking fund.
Okay.
Now, the de-risking fund, what it aims to do is that we as federal, we spoke to the subnationals, the state governments, and say, these SMEs are in your different states. So it's not the federal government alone that's responsible for these businesses. They're in your different states. Why don't you commit a certain amount of your funding? We will get our partners to match that amount you have committed, so that you can now tell them in the partners that I'm giving this 2 billion from my state. Once you match it with your 2 billion, that's 4 billion. Give my SMEs this money at 9-10%.
Okay.
If they do not pay back, you can take from my money as insurance, because I'm going to credit you this money. So because the fear always been on them. If they don't pay back,
the bottom line, you said, the businesses.
It's their businesses. So who is going to be responsible? So theirs is just their financial insurance. Who is going to look after it? Who is going to, if this SME is default, who is going to sort us out? So the governments are now saying, yeah, you have part of our money. If you give Temitola a facility, you give me a facility, 20, 50, 100 million, and at default at some point, you have the state's money. You have a permission to dip your hand.
How well is that going?
Oh, it's going. It's actually a state like Lagos launched with 10 billion immediately. What we're even proposing to the state government said, and you understand why Lagos will launch with 10 billion, because virtually, the quantum of MSMEs for businesses in Lagos. So they had a state that matched, they had a partner that matched the 10 billion. The Katsina state government The Katsina State government also launched with 3 billion, and they have been matched with another 3 billion by the Bank of Industry.
And those funds are trickling.
Oh, yeah. So SMEs are now able to access. You see, when I say the Katsina State governor has done that, don't forget that he was the former DG Smeda. He was the former Director General. So he understands
the role
of the SMEs. Now, I know a few other governors, a few other states have also committed to this, like the Enugu State government and Imo State government. I think Ekiti State government, Ekiti State government, I'm very certain about, and I think Ogun State government. So a number of other governors are open to this and are coming on board.
I also remembered your reference to the Bank of Industry, and I'm told there's a talk about a 5 million naira loan with 9% interest.
Yes.
That also is working?
Oh, yes, that is working. Now, the history behind that was when President removed the subsidy, he had given some facilities to MSMEs. Mm-hmm. Some aspects, there are 3 aspects, 3 phases. There were 3 phases. Now, there's the manufacturing aspect, which was to give as much as $1 billion to expand your business. Then there's the grant bit, which is more than 50,000 rand. So very no small businesses. Then there was the loan aspect, which you could collect up to 1 million or thereabouts, 9%. When BOI were almost done with the implementation of this, and they saw the response of SMEs to this. So it was through the ministry, it was argued, and it was presented to the President that we should scale up the obligo. So the President graciously approved, yet again, immediately, that SMEs could also access 5 million, up to 5 million at 9%, or between 3 to 5 years tenure.
And those, they've been taken up?
As we speak, that facility is almost oversubscribed, if I will use the word.
Well, you know, one of the complaints that we've heard from that project has been that some people complain that for small businesses, the paperwork that they are required to do makes it look like it's something they may not be. So for some people, it was a disadvantage for them.
Okay. Yes, we've had a few of these complaints, so I'm not even going to act like we've not. We've heard them, and they're valid. But you see, we took this to the likes of Bank of Industry, and together with the presidency, they organized sensitization across the country to tell SMEs, if you have an issue or if you have applied for any of our facility and you were not successful, please come so that we can tell you a thing or two on how to apply. Maybe there was something you did wrong, or maybe there was just this little paper you needed to push that you did not. So I personally went to some of those places to see VOI staff speaking to SMEs. Oh, you had applied, you got to this point. This is when we could not follow up again. So we missed on this document, that document. So, and that helped because I needed the feedback from that session. And the report we got was that a lot more people now got their facilities. So some people were even advised to go and reapply.
With that assistance.
Oh, with that assistance. Okay. So, like Walmart says, Walmart's logo is every little help. Every little help we can give to SMEs. We do not, SMEs that we can help today, we don't postpone that help to tomorrow.
It's really nice to hear that you go out to meet the people, because I think a lot of times the complaint of people is that government sits back and expects people to come to them. And some of these people are in far-flung places. You understand? Newi, someone is in Ikorodu. Ikorodu is not far-flung. Ikorodu is middle center. But you get what I mean. Yeah. So it's nice to hear that sometimes some of these projects go around. I would like to understand from you, how do you get assessment of how this business is, what are their pressure points and things like that?
Yeah. Now, you talked about in the past, government people will just sit down and expect the businesses to come to them. And that is why we conceived the MSME clinics. Okay. So the clinic is, you are going outside to go and speak to them. It's like a doctor who patients you naturally come to. I have this is wrong with me, please come and help. So the doctor now said, you know what, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go around looking for people that need my help. So it was strange initially. People did not believe we could do that. But the president actually asked Mr. Vice President to go around every state. And that's what we have been doing, basically. So the issue of people
you said on this clinic, I'm interested in understanding how those clinics run. You say you take clinics to the people and the vice president. What do you mean by the clinics?
Oh, the MSME clinic is, I will tell it when the doctors are coming to the patients.
Yes, you said so. But what do they do on this?
Now, SMEs are being regulated by mostly government agencies.
Yes.
So we take all those agencies to a state. For instance, we go to Imo State. What are your issues here? All the DGs are present. The Minister of Industry is there. Information is there. Like to churn out whatever it is that we find. And the governor, the vice president himself comes. What are your issues here?
So you invite SMEs?
Oh, yeah. We invite the SMEs. What are your issues? Because you will be surprised. In short, we were shocked that it is not every state, not every region that issues of access to funding is their problem. No.
Oh.
When we went to the East, it wasn't really access to funding. It was power. Power. Oh, I spend most of my profits on generator. Mm-hmm. So as a result of that, we started giving them shared hubs, shared facilities. And we ensure that these facilities are, we put solar that will at least last them for between 8 to 10 hours a day when they go there. That's the little we can do. But we come back based on your feedback that you give to us.
From the clinics?
From the clinics, then we react.
Okay.
We react. So that's what we do.
So the clinics act as fact-finding.
Fantastic.
You took this around the country?
Under this government, so far we've done 8 states or 9 states. I think we're going to Lagos, we're going to Benue. No, we're going to Lagos, we're going to Delta, and I think, what you call it now? I think Adamawa. Before July.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm interested. You said from the findings, or like the one you did from the power in a bid to address the issue of power, you now set up hubs. What do you mean by hubs?
Okay, so aside from power, there are issues where that you see people in fashion that can sew. They will sew. They have sewing machine. But you see people think beyond sewing machine. You see the design on my clothing is done by an equipment called monogram machine.
Okay.
Very expensive. A lot of the MSMEs cannot afford it. So when they sew, they go and give it to the people who have monogram equipment.
Yes.
They charge them to do the design. So that's reducing from their profits, if you see. Mm-hmm. So what we've done is that we'll look at if fashion is your thing here in the States, we'll now have partners that will give us all those equipment that those SMEs will be going around for. Mm-hmm. We put them in the state governments are usually encouraged to give us a facility. So we put those equipment there, we have trainings, so that SMEs in that state can come and use those facilities. If you go and pay for 10,000 or 7,500 naira for monogramming somewhere, in our facility you can do it for between 800 or 1,000 naira. So you have more money in your pocket. We try to ensure that you have more money in your pocket, basically. So that's what we do. And we have done, as we speak, we have a team. Before...
Across the country?
Oh, yeah. We have fashion across different states. We even renovated a whole Adire market in Ogun State, 200 store market. Our partners renovated it. When they finished the renovation, the president said we should give them the place, the first year that our partners should place channel for a way to fund it. So they were there free for the first year. The second year, the Ogun State government gave them 50% discount. The third year, they came and said, Adire, once we finish, we'll go and dry some manual drying. So we make about 500 a day. If we have industrial dryer, we can do 5,000. So when we heard that, if we have, we reached out to our partners who helped us with industrial dryer over there. Now, they're able to do 5,000 within 2 hours. So for us, it's just enabling your progress, your success, how we can as a government.
So let me, please just correct me if I'm wrong. So there's sectors you identify.
Yes.
You set up a hub there.
Yes.
If it's power, you help them order machines they need. And you have this across the country.
Yeah. We don't identify the sectors in isolation.
Okay.
I don't live in all the states. To be honest, I cannot sit in Abuja and know that they need fashion in a certain state. They need mechanic city in a certain state. No. We do this in conjunction with the state governments and the locals, the MSMEs themselves. If, for instance, we do carry out like a survey and a poll, we see that here, ICT will work. We'll deploy ICT. This place, mechanic city, or mechanized mechanic city will work. We deploy mechanic city. If we see that, for instance, when we went to Ondo, some people were arguing for fashion. But we know that there are a lot of fishermen in Ondo State. And we said that the overriding majority wanted a code room. As at that time, we knew nothing about the code room, but because of Ondo, it became our first case study for code room. So when they go to the market, and when they go to their river, whatever fish they don't sell, they don't finish in a day, they bring it there and store it. The next day, they go back there, pick up their tag, and go and sell. So same for their fish, same for prawns. One of the beneficiaries of that came into our office yesterday and bought fish and prawns for us. So
as a thank you.
Yeah, I mean.
Now, some of these hubs, how many people do you target they can reach that it can affect positively?
Now, we try to ensure that in each hub, on the average, 200 to 330 people can use each hub at different times in a day, on the average. The way we've mapped our matrix is that on the average monthly, we have about 3,150 people use the facility, and annually, because you clock in, so we can monitor. You clock in, and as a matter of fact, we have people that do M&E. We have people that work for us, that do M&E. A lot of the past MSME winners, MSME award winners, are ambassadors. So they've taken over the responsibility of monitoring our facilities, and we get feedback. And our team, we go from every quarter, we try to go around. So we're able to monitor that at least a facility will have about almost 41,000, between 39,000 to 41,000 people use it in a year, a facility. So, and when you do the maths, you see that if we can continue in this light and give states what they can use, what they will use, what SMEs in those states will use, we might be able to start helping to reduce unemployment.
Yes, we can reduce unemployment, but I don't know. When you look at it, it looks, this our structure, federal, state, local government, and if you as the state take on the burden to do this, one wonders, looking at our population, like we spoke about earlier, how and when you will reach a sizable majority to start a wave. How are you working with states, or how are we making states and the local government take up these sorts of things to spur an effect that touches people?
Yeah, you see, I think we are very lucky that, I must say that we have been very lucky that most of the states have worked with us 100% in this regard. Most of the states. Now, it is based on the leader and the leadership drive of any governor and any local government in the state. Do you know that there are some states that have 4 facilities? Because we did one, and within 6 months, the governors will come back and say, can we please, are you able to now, you have given us fashion, can you now help us with ICT for this place? You have given us ICT, please, can we be helped? So for us, it is, Benin State have at least 3 facilities. As we speak, they are still reaching out to us for a few more.
Yeah, but what are they doing? What are the states doing? They're reaching out to you. The federal can't do everything. how do we support the states to make sure they too, like we said earlier, you may not need to reinvent the wheel, but you can innovate it and then move. How are we sure, how can we get states to also support? I like the numbers you're calling forth, the hubs and the effects, but Nigeria is a big place. Massive. And if we're waiting for the federal government to do alone. So I need to understand, how is that working?
I share. See, I understand your question 100%.
Yes.
But I will still reiterate that the governors that want to work with us,
you're working with them.
We work with them. You know, we've given them certain ideas. Some of them have bought it, hook, line, and sinker.
Let me quickly, because of time, I want to take you up on the issue of tax. One of the complaints I know, and I'm really happy you are somebody that has been on the streets, you've been on the ground, you've gone through the difficulty of trying to set up a business just for the first time. You don't know, so you are finding out as you go. Now, the issue of tax is one place. You've mentioned power and some of the things you're doing to help. Tax is also another issue. How do you file? And with this new tax law, it looks like it's addressed some of the complexities or the multiple taxation issues that MSMEs face. Yes. But with this new tax act, it appears comes more unknowns. From your interaction, do you get, from your clinics, do you get any feedback from people as regards these issues?
First, I will say even we, at the early stage, or the early stages, we're not too sure. But to be honest with you, this new tax law and some of its aspects is specifically looking out for Nigerian MSMEs. No. It's trying to protect them. You know, so, you know, I mean, you don't blame people for doubting this thing initially, but now that it has entered its full state of implementation, because there's sensitization, in short, there's even post-launch sensitization. The NRS has not even stopped its sensitizing people. But one good thing that it has done is that as a small business owner now, you now know, you have a sense of what tax you are paying. You have a sense of what tax you are not supposed to pay. So if somebody can't just wake up and come to your business and say, come and pay me this tax, you can show them the act. You are now empowered to tell people, whoever it is, that comes to you for, oh, you must do this. I'm not. Because the new act says X, Y, Z. Yeah, but from your interaction, have you met people who have started interacting with the act? Oh, yeah, I've met a few MSMEs. I mean, what we do is that sometimes we randomly just go and visit businesses and just have chats with them. You see, because there are times we just generally have chats. We don't wait for events. We just generally have chats with them. So we get feelers from the streets. We get feelers from the MSMEs themselves and able to push it on to those responsible to act. Let me touch very briefly on your National MSME Awards. It's something it seems you've been doing for some time, trying to reward some people, pick them out, give them prizes. It will appear in the last edition. You are not giving cars and houses as prize. You're now giving grants. And I think the figure of like 1 billion was pushed out. Now, a lot of people are wondering why the change from hard to the cash. It was once said that the most important and the most significant thing in life is change. You know, if you recall, in 2018 when we started this thing, it was a car. At some point, every category got about 15 cars. Every category got a car. Later on, we started playing with, why are we giving SMEs cars when they have issues? They might not even have shops or stuff. We toyed with shops. We give people shops because we feel like if you're a business owner, the shop should interest you, you should own your own shop. At some point, we say, okay, maybe we can support them with houses. We started giving out houses, shops, and cars. So, and the truth is that for every event, for every massive thing we do, the vice president will always go and sit down with His Excellency. This is the plan for this year. And the discussion was that we've done everything for these guys. We've tried to give them cash. Have we ever, at some point, given them significant funding so that they use their own money to go and touch up whatever it is that they need to touch up with their business? Have we ever? And I said no. So why don't we try that and see what the result will be? So for everything you do, you must sit down and do a debriefing and ask yourself what the outcome was. So we've never done this. So I'm thinking, for once, let's give these guys funds, monitor those funds, and see how those funds will impact and improve their business. Because you'll be shocked that you might give some SMEs funds and they will employ 1 or 2 more people.
Mm-hmm.
So you give an SME a car. Some of those SME, when you give them a car, they might not even have the money to afford the car. So why don't we give them money to support their businesses? And it's not saying that we're not giving a car. We are still giving a car. But it's just that we're not saying that now that everybody will have a car. No. We're limiting the MSME of the year, we still go with a car.
Let me please ask you, how do you go about picking the winners?
Oh, yeah, no. We don't pick. The winners pick themselves. The process.
Who is they? What do you mean they?
No. What I'm saying is that we don't pick.
Okay.
I don't pick. I don't know. So what we have is that the portal opens. So the process.
Okay, there's a portal.
Yeah. The portal opens. You apply for the whatever category you want to apply, and once the application closes, in this case, it's going to close on May 7th. Mm-hmm. Once it closes, bam, there's a committee from all the committee members. So they start looking at all those that have applied, their criteria for your application. If you don't fit it, the system just starts removing you. If they say, do you have tax, you don't have tax, and you apply, it takes you to one side. Do you have, are you employing up to 2 people? If you're outside, it takes you outside. So basically speaking, the system helps us start saving small. Then once you now have a bucket of those that have qualified, they will look through it and see their criteria and everything. Once you meet all those things, you are shortlisted. They send you a message. Congratulations, you are coming to FCT. And this year, one thing we're also doing differently is that we've been told that in the past we give the first something, the second something, the third, and that's where it ends. But we've been told that we should make it at least the top 6 in every category. To get something tangible. And we're not inviting the top 6, we're only going to invite the top 3. But if you are part of the top 6, from 4th, 5th, 6th, wherever you are in the country, we have your details. You will just get your monetary alert.
I like the fact that you have a background. First as an entrepreneur, and then you've been on this field. And so I want to ask you, when you look at where you are now, from where you sit, and you're looking at businesses, what do you see as the change now between what entrepreneurs are struggling with now and what you had to struggle with then? When you were trying, what has changed?
What has changed for me, or what? I'm sorry, I might have to use myself as an example. I see that I'm here because I'm coming from that space.
Yes.
I'm very passionate and deliberate to ensure that they don't face some of the things I face.
True.
And I'm trying that every day. Mm-hmm. And when they come to me and say we're facing this, people that have never run business might think, oh, they've come again. I know that it's not they've come again because I was there. I knew how difficult it was to get my first facility. So I knew how difficult it was to ensure that people don't come and be collecting multiple taxes from us. So what has changed now is that we have people who are committed. We have a president who sends you out and tells you, listen, these are the expectations. So you have the Minister of Industry. He's a committed fellow. He knows exactly what he's doing, running up and down to ensure that SMEs are not stressful. We have the Minister of Trade, Dr. Jumoke, always running up and down. You have myself, you have the DG Smedan, a young child, but who is moving every day from one place, from pillar to post, to ensure that things are better for SMEs. So what has changed, in my own opinion, because I'm going to say it's an opinion because people might not agree with me, is that you have people who genuinely, and maybe because of their own experience, want to ensure that small businesses, and they know the importance of small businesses, so they want to ensure that most of them do not go under.
Now, a lot of the challenge sometimes we have with government initiatives is that they might be working while those who bring them up are in government. I would like to ask, are there plans or what plans are on ground to ensure that these initiatives are institutionalized? They're on ground, and if the government changes or if you are promoted or lifted, it doesn't mean that that ends some of these initiatives.
Yeah, you're very right, because sometimes we run that risk. But in this case, could it be the MSME hubs
or the clinics?
Or the clinics? They are domiciled in the presidency. And I must say to you that it is only somebody who is not mindful of what SMEs mean to a nation that will tell you stop doing this. Nobody is going to come and say, oh, let the vice president not go and see small businesses again. Now, he's been going to see them on behalf of Mr. President for 3 years. Now, if he's going and say, now if he goes somewhere, a few minutes to election, nobody's going to say it's campaign because he's been doing this. This is something interactive. When we went for the state visit, I had a chat with some of my colleagues from the UK government, and I kept on telling them about the clinics and how it operates. They still do not understand that it's possible. They say like a vice president. I said yes, the vice president. He goes around. I was showing some of them pictures, and I said he goes around and he said, and we are able to. I said yes, we are able to do this. And you know, somebody just joked that if they can do this, they'll be like that. Some of their people, they might not even need to campaign when that time comes. But I mean, this is just on the light side. But those two schemes have been institutionalized. You know, basically they've been institutionalized, and they are no-brainers. So when you have something that is a no-brainer, it is obvious to the blind. The deaf can hear. So basically speaking, you just run with it.
Let me end with this. I want to understand from you, a young man, if you were to speak to some of our young people right now who may want to try their hands at something and may feel they are not sure how to go about it. They want to start a business, or they're in business and they're facing challenges. What, from where you sit, from what you know, what can you say to them?
So for me, any young person, I don't know how to define a young person now because I'm 49 in 4 days. So any young person who is interested in a business and is really certain that they are meant to do business, you know, should just generally be focused on whatever it is that they want to do. You will meet challenges. Anywhere in the world, you meet challenges. You meet challenges, but be focused on what you want to do. And number one thing that is very important is that you just play your own part. Because if you're a businessman, we go for MSME, we see lovely businesses, they say they're not registered. Yes, they're not registered. So we ask, if government wanted to give a grant now, say, we want to give everybody money that has a business name, see how lovely your business is. It's not registered. So you must, first of all, you must register a business. Ensure that your business is registered.
And from what you said, the process has been made easier.
Do you know what? During clinics now, they register businesses.
Okay.
CSC goes around, they register businesses. So ensure that your business is registered. You know, whatever it is that it's expected of you from your regulators, ensure you have it. Play your own part. And when you have issues, to be honest, we have made it easy for people to reach out to government. Smedon, we have a secretariat that people can reach out to. People work in and out of this office. We have secretariats across the country. So we have made it easy for people to reach out, and we have made it easy, and because we keep pushing all the DGs, MDs, we are serving the people. These MSMEs, they are the ones that are our masters, not the other way around. Because once these guys, God forbid, if these people go under, there are no jobs anywhere, if businesses start falling, then you and I might not be where we are. So basically speaking, we are all on the same wavelength, you know, when it comes to how we support SMEs.
So they should just be confident.
For me, be confident,
Focus on them.
Be focused on what you're doing. Always ensure that whatever is expected of you, you do it on your own beat, basically. And be ready. You see, I like that Boy Scouts logo. Always ready. Just be ready. Because you can never tell when your business is about to hit the next level.
And move off. I would like to thank you very much for the time on the program. It's been enriching listening to some of your initiatives, and I would look forward to see more policies and how they affect the Nigerian public. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
A pleasure, my brother. I'm very grateful.
Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Newsnight. We'd love to hear from you. You can share your thoughts, observations, or points with us through any of our social media platforms, or send us an email. Now, earlier, Oluwaferanmi Daunsi wrote in after watching our discussion on security, saying, "This conversation is more important than any political news trending now. Sadly, conversations like this do not have a large audience. Dr. Adamu is spewing brilliant ideas." End of quote. Well, we invite you to revisit that conversation. It's one worth watching. Well, that's where we sign off tonight. Until next time, remember, stay safe, stay engaged, and connect with your community and the people around you. Bye.